think when you look down here in a few minutes, you'll see it. It's a special ground. We know here at Lords, obviously, you do have the slope, which you've got to contend with at times, making sure your base is pretty strong and you're taking your head to the line of the ball. It comes down to decision making and risk taking probably a little bit more in the T20 format. And for me, I think you always realise that you've got more balls or more time than what you do think. Probably don't take it all in as much as you would if you're just going on a casual walk like we are now. On a big game, this is all full, which is pretty cool. You don't really get this anywhere else in the world, so it's a pretty cool experience.
So Cricket Love Stories with me, Neel Khagram. Today at Lords, we're joined by Daryl Mitchell. Daryl, how's it all going in the UK?
Hey, cheers. Yeah, thanks for having me. No, it's going good.
So Daryl, we're going to obviously talk through one of the great moments in international cricket, a Test century at Lords. We're going to have a little walk and talk, starting here at the nursery ground. Maybe you can just chat about, as an international player, how you prepare for a game almost on the day as well as the few days before.
Yeah, look, I guess your preparation's pretty important leading up to Test matches, especially here at Lords when you've got the slope as well to contend with. So the 2 day out training's usually the bigger day for me in terms of getting my volume work done, and then the day before is, I guess, just ticking off a couple of key things and making sure you're fresh and ready to go for the start of the game.
When you talk about volume work, is that just volume of balls that you hit? Is it technical work? What kind of stuff are you drilling?
It can vary on depending, I guess, where you are in the world and certain things you're trying to, I guess, keep working on to make sure you can keep trying to get better as a player. And volume-wise, I guess you hit a lot more that 2 day out, especially, I guess, in Test cricket when you know you're trying to bat for a full day, and same with even T20 and white ball stuff. I guess you get most of your work done those 2 days before, and then the day before is, I guess, making sure you're still fresh and ready to go come game time.
And obviously in England, you've got to contend with seam and swing. For youngsters perhaps watching this, how do you practice that?
I guess it's over the course of your whole career, you find ways, I guess, that you'll find that contend with it. Many people, I guess, will speak about the Duke's ball and how it can do a lot more over here. And for me, coming from New Zealand, I guess the nature of the wickets is there's probably a little bit less bounce and not as much pace, but you do have that seam and swing to contend with. So it's just finding a game plan that will work against each bowler and keep trying to find ways to put pressure back on the opposition.
Now, on a day of a game, obviously, you've got a packed crowd. If we just now walk across, how's that feeling, like on a match day?
Yeah, it's this is why you play international cricket, and especially to come to a place like Lords is something you dream of as a little kid, and I guess to walk out in front of a full crowd it's pretty special and definitely memories you remember for the rest of your life.
Is it truly the home of cricket?
Yeah, I think when you look down here in a few minutes you'll see it. It's a special ground and a lot of history behind the game, which I know us as a Black Caps and as the Kiwis, we really do treasure, I guess, playing at venues like this around the world. Being a little country down at the bottom of the earth, we love, I guess, coming to these places.
If we take you back to last year's Test match, what are your memories of the day you actually got that Test century, the crowd, almost the atmosphere out there?
It's funny, I guess, one thing we try and do is not make things bigger than what they are before the game. It is just a game of cricket, albeit at such a beautiful place. But for me, is, I guess, going through what I do every day at the start of a game to prepare and trying to be as present as I can. Still, I guess the Lords, the crowd hum and those sort of things, and the national anthem before is pretty special. But once you, I guess, get through that long room and get out into the field and cross the rope, it's game on, and it's like any other game of cricket.
It's almost the first test of the Bazball era, as they're now calling it. How is it facing that new style, as I say?
Look, I guess England have found a style that works for them and allows them to compete and do what they do best. For us, it doesn't change how we go about our cricket as a Test nation, and we've got a pretty clear blueprint on how we want to play Test cricket as Black Caps. But again, it's awesome, I guess, to tour these parts of the world and experience grounds and experience different styles of cricket. That's what makes Test cricket and international cricket so much fun.
Now, as we walk out to the middle now, it's a lot about conditions all around the world. In the UK, they say look up at the cloud, etc. Other parts of the world, they say, is it green on the wicket? Is it cracked for spin, etc.? How do you actually read conditions if a youngster perhaps again is watching this and a bit confused?
I think that comes down to your preparation leading up to the game, as you're, I guess, analysing what certain grounds and surfaces will do. We know here at Lords, obviously, you do have the slope, which you've got to contend with at times, and in the UK, the overhead conditions, when the lights come on and the cloud comes over, can, I guess, swing a bit and do a bit as well. So it's making sure you find ways to combat the dismissals that are going to get you out, but at the same time trying to find ways to put pressure on them so you can make sure you're scoring runs as well.
You talked about the slope. How does that affect your batting, in particular here at Lords? A lot of people say, or what I hear from coaches, is importance of head position, etc. How does that affect your technique if we go in the technical aspects of batting?
Yeah, obviously you don't want to think about it too much, because otherwise I guess you can get spooked by it, but it's just making sure your base is pretty strong and you're taking your head to the line of the ball. If you're doing that, then I guess you give yourself the best chance. If the ball does do something, whether it's the seam or the slope, then hopefully you give yourself the best chance to combat that. But it's not over-analysing it too much, but at the same time just being aware of your surroundings and adapting.
It's all about alignment, so head, hands, feet position, etc. A lot of talk about, or debate, I say, in terms of being open or closed. Where do you stand on all of that?
I think it's just an individual preference. At the end of the day, there's many techniques and ways to be successful at this game, and it's about finding what way works for you. For me, I've got a style and a way that works for me after many years of, I guess, trial and error of different things. But there's many different ways to have success with this game.
And then obviously you've got the Test century here. You're now here for the London Spirit playing white ball cricket. How easy is it to adapt between formats?
Yeah, I guess that's the challenge of cricket in this world at the moment, is you're constantly changing formats, and I think that's another cool challenge of playing an international cricket and playing around the world. Is 1 week you're playing Test cricket and then the next day you might, or 2 days later, you might be playing a T20 somewhere. So it's but again, it comes down to making sure you got your key principles that you stick to as a player, and then you got a couple key things that you might adjust with different formats. But making sure you're not changing too much and you can stay pretty level and just go about your business.
So when it comes to, say, power hitting, does much change, or is it all about keeping the fundamentals in your technique aligned and correct across formats?
I think for me it's trying to keep things pretty aligned across all three formats. You obviously probably comes down to decision making and risk taking probably a little bit more in the T20 format, and Test cricket, again, it's about sometimes absorbing pressure and playing the long game, and there's other times where you can try to put pressure back on them again as well. So it's my technique doesn't change a hell of a lot. I still, for me, my pickup is important, taking my head to the line of the ball, all those things you can do across all three formats, but there's obviously a bit more risk with T20 cricket. How
do you assess conditions in terms of the challenges that you're facing on the day? Say, for example, in a white ball game, say you've got 20 to win off the last 10, for example. Are you looking at gaps? Are you looking at the bowler that you're facing? Or is it all of the above and more?
I think you're just taking it all in. You're constantly adapting to the situation that's provided for you, and for me, I think you always realise that you've got more balls or more time than what you do think. So it's trying to be as present as you can in that situation, being as calm as you can, and just understanding that the longer you take the game, sometimes the easier it does get. But also we've discovered with this 100 format that it's pretty chaotic and it's pretty fast, and you've got to at times take risks that you probably wouldn't normally in a T20 as well. So it's just weighing up the situation, working out what you've got behind you in the hut when you're chasing, and trying to make sure you stick at a run rate that is doable to try and win the game.
We're about to walk into the Lord's Pavilion. Take us back to your first memories that you actually walked through the famous long room.
Yeah, obviously that morning of day one test is always pretty special, and it's something that not many people get to do. So you feel very grateful and privileged to get that opportunity to represent your country and to come over here and do that. And it's something you dream of as a little kid, and it's pretty cool to, I guess, tick that off the bucket list.
And is the noise loud? Obviously we see snippets of footage, but as a player walking out there, goosebumps?
You do. You definitely do get goosebumps, but at the same time, I guess you're kind of in your own little world at times as well, and you're in the zone, so you probably don't take it all in as much as you would if you're just going on a casual walk like we are now. But it's an amazing experience to be able to play cricket here at Lords, and something that we, again, as Kiwis, really love to get this opportunity.
And take us through the famous long room. Does the history almost hit you?
Again, it's when you're having a casual chat, I guess you it's easy to say how beautiful this place is, but when you're in the middle of the game, I guess you're just worried about doing your job, and you're probably not looking at the paintings on the wall and the crowd out there, that's for sure.
And then the walk to the away dressing room that you were in.
So yeah, obviously on a big game, this is all full, which is pretty cool. You don't really get this anywhere else in the world, so it's a pretty cool experience.
And obviously we're walking up the stairs, but when you're walking out to bat, that feeling.
Yeah, I think you just try not to trip. That's the main thing. It's obviously, again, there's no other place in the world where I guess you do this with the members all here as well. So it's a bit different, but it's a cool experience.
And you're getting your name up on that board. How did it, when you got that moment and you got that century, forever on there?
Yeah, it's obviously pretty cool. It's something that you look back on the rest of your life. I guess being 97 not out overnight was a bit of a restless sleep the night before, but yeah, nice to, I guess, get the job done and more importantly, put a score on the board to help contribute to the team to get a total, which obviously we didn't win the test match in the end, but we gave it a good nudge and did everything we can.
Daryl Mitchell, thank you.
Cheers, bro. Thank you.
Thank you.